They call him Coach Loggins, born and raised, he from Chi-Town. Spreading love to the East Coast, it's a rap now. The game's over, it's winning season, I should've told you. Coach Loggins, the winning team, it's the takeover. Automotive industry, y'all better listen. Y'all ain't doing what I'm really doing in this industry. This gonna be some history. Swear to God, it's legendary. Swag so cold, we giving lifetime warranty. We the motivated Machiavelli, the car business. And that new Genesis X is coming, so get ready. And it's a smooth driver. I hit them turns, call me Ghost Rider. And we got deals on top of deals, go get your co-signer.
Hey guys, Coach Loggins here. Coach Loggins 128 coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's the 2024 NADA show, and here's what's even better. It is the third episode of the All the Way Up podcast, coming to you right from Vegas, bringing you live information in the here and now about what's going on and what NADA is about. So everybody's kind of been watching my podcast and you see what it's about, but today what I'm going to talk to you about is why does NADA happen? A lot of people don't understand what happens at NADA. A lot of dealers and owners truly believe that people come out here and they screw around and they do whatever. But let me tell you, if the tools that are given to you are truly used, then they will be beneficial when you go back home. Yeah, do you have fun at the end of the night? Sure, you're allowed to have fun. We should have fun when we're at work. But the one thing that I want to tell everybody is why I come to NADA, and this is my 10th year coming here, and what I accomplish, and what dealers out there can accomplish, or managers out there can accomplish if they're allowed to go. By the way, Red Bull just sent us a bunch of these. I just thought I'd tell everybody, they want me to talk about it on the podcast, so I'm going to talk about it. This is sugar-free Red Bull, coming right to you from Las Vegas. We're going to set that down now. But here's what I'm going to talk to you about. The object of NADA is to get knowledge and to get understanding of the products that people have. And what I've done is I brought my team of people here with me to go through the convention and actually sit down. We had 31 vendors that we went to see. We're partially through them. We have more to finish tomorrow. But the whole purpose is to understand how the product works. Anybody can give you a tool, okay? I can give you a ball peen hammer with a round end and no claw on it, and I can tell you to go pull nails with that hammer. You can't pull them out. I'm sure you could figure it out, but it won't pull them out. But if you take that ball peen hammer to hit a nail straight on the head, it's going to work, right? So we have tools, but tools are a guide, and if you don't know how to use them, your tools aren't going to work. So example, so today I went in, and I'm not going to explain what vendors we went to go see, but I brought my team in. I brought my general sales manager. I brought my new car manager. I have my fixed ops director with me and so forth. And what we did is we went into these vendors and I allowed them to teach my managers what their tool is and what it does and what we currently have and how is it using. Do you have an ROI on that? Meaning return on your investment. Are you receiving funds from a product that you paid for? Because I give everybody an example. I had a product last year that I canceled, and the amount of money that I was spending monthly on the product did not equate to a return on my investment of something worth keeping. So I got rid of it. For example, I paid $4,000 to $5,000 a month for the product, but I only could track that I made $3,500 a month using the product. So does that sound like a good product? I don't think so. So today in this podcast is motivating you and your teams on how to get the best out of your business. In the car business, we have NADA. In other businesses, they have expos and all this stuff that's done all over the world. So everybody has something like this. So we go in, we sit down, and they talk to us. They pull up our store's information. They go over how the product's working. And then when we get done, number one, we offer to cancel the product, because we want to renegotiate money and deals, because NADA offers a lot of deals for dealers not signed up. But my question to you is, if you're already signed up, why can't you get the same deal as dealers not signed up? Why? Why do I have to pay more, but the guy next to me doesn't have to pay more because he walks up and he's never used the tool? How does that make sense? So what I've taught my team to do and myself to do is we negotiate our terms and conditions with our vendors at this event. And the goal is to save money, get more of the product, and bring all this knowledge back home and use it. So today, I'm leaving the vendors out of this because it's not fair to them that I say what vendors that we utilize and what we do. But what we did today is the first vendor that we went to, we sat down and we went over the product information, how it worked, what it does for us, how well our dealership is utilizing it, meaning utilization rate, and how it was working. And then they started to pitch us on a bolt-on product that goes with this product to charge us more money. Well, my response to that was, I want it for free. And the reason I want it for free is because you have a new product. We're doing a great job with your product. You need analytics just as bad as we need analytics. So why don't we work in the, so long story short, I worked the deal in for free. Now, it's not going to be for a long time. It's probably going to be for 6 months. But listen, we operate our businesses on monthly and quarterly numbers and statistics. So that is one thing that we've accomplished. And we went through a handful of vendors today, and we did this. And the one thing it taught my managers that they got to see is a whole nother light of the business. A size of a convention center in Las Vegas, the size of it with the underground tunnels that bring you from one side to the next. The train, the monorail, whatever you want to call it, that brings you from MGM all the way down the strip here to this place because of how big of a deal it is and how many thousands of people attend this. So when I tell you this, because I'm going to tell you, any dealer principals out there or owners, man, if your people want to go once a year, let them go. What's wrong with having fun? When you have your managers and you talk to them, we talk about what? Working hard, taking care of the customer, and having fun. Let them do it. This will mean the world. And if you like retention and keeping your people, they're going to stay with you. Take your people out to dinner. Have a good management meeting with them while you're at dinner. Game plan for the year and continue to forecast out your goals for the year based on this visit. So the one thing is I've always mentored some people, and the people that I'm mentoring that are here today were very impressed with it. And people always think it's easy until they come out and do it, just like any 20 group meetings or anything. But when you actually come out and do it, and you bump elbows with people, you end up meeting people that will help you in the business, right? So now we're going to get into shifting gears from getting into the products, understanding the products, getting a discount, and getting the bang for the buck. Now we're going to talk about knowing people and being at the right place at the right time. Now, here's what I can tell you. A lot of things for a lot of people based on success are being in the right place at the right time. Mine was never like that. I had to work hard for what I did. And what I can tell you is through the ventures of vendors, you have to treat them good. You have to treat them respectfully. And in turn, they will allow you to meet the owners of these companies, the vice presidents of these companies that, guess what, can help you with your product. And in the end, dealers always wanted to be tough on manufacturers and always want to be tough on vendors. At the end of the day, yes, they're there to make money on you. But at the end of the day, if they're making money on you, you should get a full service from them, and you can get it. The after parties that they invited us to, the dinner events that they invited us to, if we could go to all of them, it'd be great. We'd be here for 2 months. But the one thing I'd tell, learn your products that you have in your stores, learn how to use them, your CRM that you put your customers in, learn how to use it inside and out, and always utilize that tool to its fullest. Because in the tools that we have in the car business, you have to start it, complete it, and finish it. And if you don't, your data will continue to compile into a massive mess, and you don't want that. So we talked about saving money. We talked about negotiating with these guys and saving money, getting a return on your investment, and really realizing what you should be paying for advertising. Because when you get done, there's a dollar amount you should pay for advertising. And I don't know if this is a super motivating podcast, but I'm going to tell you what this podcast is about. It's knowledge. And I don't always have to be motivating, but knowledge is motivation. Motivation is power. Power is knowledge. And I can tell you that you got to know what you're doing with your products in the business at all times. So when you roll this into your stores and you come back to your stores from NADA or you come back from a 20 group meeting, the biggest thing that you have to do is make sure that everybody's on the same page. That's number one. Okay? You get everybody on the same page. You have to be able to explain the product. I am able to train my people on these products because I make myself learn them. So the leader has to know how to use the products to make sure his team does. And then they have to implement it in their stores, right? So it has to be kind of follow the leader. The leader has to lead by example. The next employee has to lead by example, and that leader has to check that employee to make sure he's doing it. A good manager is a good checker. So if you're not checking behind what you're expecting to be done, you're probably not a good manager. And then you go from that into enforcing policy on what it is. You can't just come back from an event like this and say, okay, I'm changing everything in the store today, effective today. No. One turn at a time. And where that comes from is if you've ever put a screw into something or a wood screw into something, you go one turn at a time until it's tight. If you go too tight, what happens? You stripped out the hole and you've ruined it. So you go one turn at a time. That would be my advice for anybody. Number two is enforce the products and check behind your people and make sure they're doing it. Number three, if the product does not work and you've been trained and retrained on the product and your team has been trained and retrained, it's time to get another product. And if you don't believe in your product, you're not going to sell your product, and you're not going to sell your product through another product. So you have to believe in all the products that you're using to be successful. And here I'll tell you, the next biggest thing that we're coming across is AI. I don't know if anybody understands how big this is. How much AI are we going to have in our businesses over the next 2 to 4 years? How much artificial intelligence is going to be truly driving our business? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I can tell you it can be good and bad. Because if you don't know how to use your product, it doesn't matter if a computer's talking to a customer or you, it's still not going to work. So, are you going to go all the way up in your products this year? Are you going to utilize and maximize your people, your products, and your ultimate potential? Are you setting daily, weekly, and monthly goals with action plans that line out with your products and your factory requirements? The factory's always going to ask a lot from you. Bless the factories in their toughness that they are. But you know what? At the end of the day, they have a vision, and they build the cars. And without manufacturers, we can't sell cars. That's why people say car business is great. You know, you have Amazon coming into the world of the car business. Artificial intelligence, you got data being collected daily. You see videos on TikTok and all this stuff where they're not even the real people talking and saying it. They're celebrities saying stuff that's not even them. The world and day that we're in, not only is it scary, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to run you over. So, NADA bottom line is going to be saving your money, learning about your products, negotiating with your vendors, right? Building rapport with all of your vendors, knowing who's in charge. You should know the top person in charge. Whether it's a bank, whether it's a vendor, you should know the very top person. And bump elbows with them. Take them to dinner. Take them out. Don't treat them like every other vendor gets treated, right? So as we're rolling through NADA, in the day and time goes on, make sure you utilize and bring enough of this back. As we continue to move forward, I'm going to explain to you now how I'm going to bring this back to my people, and how I've done it. And the best way of holding people accountable, there's a step of plans, okay? Number one is we go back from NAD and we go back to our stores. We take 10 things that we have written out, 10 things on our notes, 20 things, whatever it is. And you take the 3 most important things and you put those to the top. So whatever those top 3 things are in your business that's struggling, that you want to be on point on and you want to motivate your team and you want to get excited. Number one is the first thing you got to do is you got to be able to get your team to believe that this is going to happen. That's number one. The way to get them to believe it's going to happen is you get them to understand the product and you use it with them. Or if it's a process, you use it with them. I've said this for years. Processes never fail, people do. I'm going to say it one more time. Processes never fail, people do. Because if a great process always works, the only thing that can fail that is people, because it's the only thing that's in the way. So you get them to believe in the product and you get them to understand the product. And when they don't believe in it, you can't force them to believe in something they don't like or they don't agree with. You have to do trial and error, and you have to see how it works. You also have to come behind them, and a good manager is a good checker. Meaning, so if we go back and we set a process up and we do a process, give you an example, say we're going to appraise cars differently when we come back from NADA, based on the used car market these days and how it's down 33% and it's stabilizing and all this, whatever. I don't care what people say about how good or bad it is. We're going to make it great. And what you got to do is say the appraisal process is you're going to walk around the car with the customer. You're going to do a silent trade evaluation with the customer, but you're going to do it. And I would have a team meeting with my people in my GSM prior to this, my GSM and my GM, and then I would roll out from that point forward the expectations. And then what I would do is I would roll it out and I would make sure everybody knows how to do it. So I would roll it out in the morning, and then I would come back later in the evening and I would make sure that everybody understood it and they were doing it. Then the next day would go by. I would remind everybody the next day about what we had to do and how we had to do it. I'd be reminding my GSM and GM what to look for, how to look for it, and where the triggers of this may or may not work, and where are the weaknesses where people are going to take path of least resistance and go around the back door to get into the front door when they could have just walked in the front door in the first place. And this is the right hand talking to the left hand the entire time. This is called consistency, this is called process, and this is called communication. The three fundamentals of really doing business, right? So now that we've enforced the product or the process, and we're our second day in, and then we get to our third day, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the first 3 days, and then I'm going to roll it out, and then I'm going to check behind my management team and my salespeople at night, in the morning, and in the afternoon. And then I'm going to ask my GM and GSM, is this happening? I already know the answer. I already know the answer because I've already looked at it. So I'm going to ask them, is this process happening right now? They're going to say, yes, kind of, maybe. And I'm going to say, well, how much is this process happening? And they would say, most of the time, boss. And I would say, most of the time, can you tell me why it's not happening all the time? And they're going to say, well, you know, it's new and we're not used to it. And all. New? What? What does that have to do with anything? New is good. Change is good. I was actually talking to my GM today on the phone, and when I talked to him on the phone, I said, are you comfortable right now? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, are you comfortable with where you're at in your business and what you're doing at the dealership? He goes, heck no. He goes, I haven't slept. I got things to fix. I got things to do. I go, well, that's great. Because if you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're uncomfortable, you're growing. So I explained to him, the good news is you are uncomfortable, which means you're growing, but you want to fix it, which is good. You're not sleeping, that's part of success. You're growing, that's part of success. Uncomfortable is part of growing, and that's what happens. So you continue to follow up daily, and then you go to weekly follow-up with your management team, and then you check every other week, and then you check once a month. And then once you check once a month, then you check every couple of months, and then you spread it out. But what always seems to happen, and I'm going to warn everybody on this, is right when you think your team's got it down, and right when you think they're all doing it, and business is doing this because everybody's doing it, and then that gets over this little hump and it starts going like this. And then you go back and look, and the processes stopped that got them there. The procedure stopped that got them there. The product stopped that got him there. The guy that's me stopped checking every week because he trusted them because they were doing it. So that went away too. And then you have your enablers that come into business that cover everything up for people, and they put a blanket on it to make it look good. That's bad. I hate enablers. If you got an enabler in your business, get rid of them. They're no good. They're going to enable your people out of a job. Get them out of there. If you got a fixer-upper in your store, get rid of them. They're called enablers. You can't have those people. Example of an enabler. I got an office person at one of my stores that says, you know, I keep Dan off the emails because I don't want Dan to get upset at an employee. You all tell me in the All the Way Up podcast, is that holding people accountable or is that enabling them because they're cleaning it up? I'll give you guys a second to answer that inside your head. You're enabling them to continue to make the same mistake because they're fixing it in the background. The only reason I tell them to put me on is I want them to see that I know that they're not doing the job. It's not for me to yell at them. I don't hire people. I don't fire people. They fire themselves. They hire themselves. They get their own raise. They get their own success. Nobody's given anything. We give you the tools. Remember the word tools back in the beginning of the cast. Tools will help you grow your business, but if you don't use the tools right, you can't grow your business. So with that being said, a good manager is a good checker. A good checker that goes behind and consistently makes sure that his team's doing the job. The next thing is, with all of this stuff, when we talk about expense savings, in the beginning of the year, you should evaluate all your expenses in your dealership, and you should trim all the fat and get it down to the muscle to where you're operating like a well-oiled machine, and you can afford to pay people through tough times, such as January, that people always complain. I'll tell you this, our January, we set a record in January, we had a great month. A lot of people are crying the blues. If you ask me 24/7 if we're busy, I'm going to tell you yes. That will never change because I am busy. And my team is busy because we're busy making deals. So make sure that when you go back to motivate your people, number one, a good manager is a good checker. Give them the tools to do their business. Help them. If the vendor can't teach them, you teach them as a leader and you learn how to do it. You make sure that you can do it. And I'll tell you the biggest thing, it's one of the 10 things that requires zero talent that you don't have to have a degree in. You got to be able to show up on time. You got to have a great attitude. You got to be able to work your butt off, leave no stone unturned. You got to be able to have a positive mindset. You got to have the ability to think outside the box. You got to have the ability to push yourself to 120%, whether you're sick or not. And once you cross over that finish line, guess what? You need to wake up and do it again tomorrow. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Still follow me. Make sure you like my podcast. Make sure you subscribe to me. Post a comment. Tell me what you want to hear in my podcast. Subscribe, like, follow. Bam. Smash that button. Coach Loggins 128 out.
They call him Coach Loggins. Born and raised, he from Chi-Town. Spreading love to the East Coast, it's a rap now. The game's over, it's winning season, I should've told you. Coach Loggins, the winning team, it's the takeover.